Alright, so here we are. We're talking about the Blues. Got my notes here. Not that matters too much. We're talking about the gosh dang Blues. I tried to do this earlier. Wasn't prepared. We're going through it. Alright. First off, this off season was pretty good. Alright. Made a couple of moves. We traded Kyrou. You know, I don't feel like he got the fairest of shakes here. Kind of buried him on the third line. We're going to just talk about him for a minute here. He is a good player. Alright. Is he the best two-way player? Probably not. Alright. Let's be honest. His forecheck, it was pretty good. His speed was great. His effort in the ozone. Well, if it wasn't going our way, it wasn't exactly the best. All right, let's be real about that. Did the contract? How do I want to say? Did he live up to the contract? I don't know that signing him to the same deal we signed Thomas really made him look good. I feel like it was a fair contract, especially when he was given top to second line minutes. Yeah, he wasn't bad. He could score some goals, but he's not a very good support player. All right, let's just at least not on our organization. He wasn't. Oh, how do I want to word this? He wasn't like. He wasn't the best at shaking down players, considering his speed. He is very. I won't call him small because all these guys are about my height. And they're probably not my build, obviously, but you know, he was he's a pretty decent guy out there. You know, he did some stuff. Was he flashy? Yes. And did he thrive on Thomas's line? He definitely did. But would he be somebody you'd play with Thomas all the time? No. He didn't really help break out of the D zone ever. His play along the boards was pretty poor, to be completely honest. And that's no slight to him. I don't think he was ever meant to be that guy. But his ability to finish the play was pretty good when you're in the offensive zone. Now, something we really expected him to do would be chase down the puck in the D zone, force the puck carrier somewhere off to the side, and then let the other, I guess you would say, defensive players kind of come in and pressure the puck carrier into doing something stupid or, shake the puck off. He really isn't good at that, at least not here. In Washington, when you got guys like, I'm not saying he's going to play with, goodness gracious, why can't I think of this guy? Wilson or anybody. He's not going to play with Ovechkin. I don't actually know where he's going to slot into their lineup. But he doesn't have the spotlight on him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not looked at as, whoa, this is one of the top salary guys anymore. There's people getting paid way more than him there. The spotlight's off him there. I think that's perfect for him. I don't want to spend too much time talking about Kyrie because he's not on our team anymore, but I do think it was a good move for him to go there. Now, let's move off of that. Let's talk about the Blues. All right, these are projected lineups from Puckpedia. Let's talk about Dylan Holloway, Robert Thomas, and Jimmy Snuggery. After the Olympic break, I think they were the second most scoring line. I didn't actually look up who the top scoring line was out of the Olympic break. But man, those guys turned it on, dude. They looked great. They started off a little schmee, if you will, but you gotta understand, Snuggerud was kind of bouncing in between the second and third line there for a little while. And then, boom, we put him on the top line with Thomas. Especially once Holloway came back. God, those guys turned it on. So, I don't really... What is that weird noise? Anyways, I don't think that picked up on the camera. It's fine. Got some weird bug noise going on back here. I'm in the garage, obviously. um, let's not get distracted by the environment here. Thomas, for the longest time, going into the last season, everybody was questioning his, what do you want to say it? I guess liking being on the team, and just, he was always the look up the rafters when things didn't go his way. Quick to the bench after it went back to the D zone. And you gotta understand, he was injured for a while there. I wish I would have wrote down what his injury was. I kind of just quickly jotted down the lines and stuff. Didn't really focus on that too much. Thomas, though, is an elite passer. Well, playmaker, whatever you want to say. And towards the end of the season, he was taking shots on that, and he was scoring some goals, man. He was looking great. I think something that really hurt the Blues last year is the fact that Holloway was hurt for so long. I don't think we would have been quite in the hole like we were had he been healthy. But you can't really fault players when they get hurt and they're out, It sucks. It really sucks when they get hurt in some stupid situation. I don't think that was the case, but, it sucks when you lose a good player. That being said, let's talk about Jimmy Snuggerud. This guy was somebody I was singing the praises for quite a while, alright? He was dang near elite when he was playing in university. I love the fact that even if there's nothing going on, say he was carrying the puck, he would fling it on net. Like he would at least make nothing or something out of nothing. Like fling it at the net, get some sort of shot on goal. It wouldn't always, result in some crazy scoring chance, but this guy doesn't give up on the play. And something that I think is overlooked with Snuggerud, he's not exactly a pushover, just like Holloway. Holloway throws some checks you wouldn't expect it from him. I love that. That combination, to me, is a pretty nice top line. And I think they have a lot of room to grow together. I think a full season of those guys together, that's going to be something, right? You can't just act like they weren't anything. I wish I could remember the stats, but I think it was something like 51 points after the Olympic break between the three of them. It was nuts. They were electric out there. Let's be honest. And let's slot back over to Holloway real quick. I mean, that guy saying as the offer sheets, I remember everybody was like, "What the heck?" I guess it was more of an eyebrow raiser when it came to Broberg, but Holloway has been paying dividends. And if that guy can stay healthy this season, and again, that's no slight to him because it wasn't his choice to get hurt. It's never any of these guys' choice to be hurt. It's not like the Torrey Krug situation where he just won't. I get it. You sign a contract, and you're talking millions of dollars. Why would you retire and just leave all that money on the table? But at the same time, you got to think about the team. Okay? Something that sucks about the whole Krug situation is, I know that we're already off the top line subject. We're not getting that guy's money on LTIR until September, which is when the season starts. And that sucks. Alright? I wish I wrote down how much Krug's contract's worth, but it's at least north of $5 million. It's $5 more million we could have played with in free agency or the trade market. I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. It's fine. We all know he's not going to play again. At least you can look at it like this. During the season or trade deadline, all that money is going to be there for us. But something about Holloway. I love the way that guy finishes the checks. He's not afraid to go into the boards, which is something Kyrie was definitely not all about. He would go into the boards if he knew he could pickpocket the puck away. Pickpocket. Jesus, that is hard to say. But I love this guy's gumption. He's always on the puck. He pressures the puck hard, and he's fantastic. To be completely honest, let's see if I can. Hang on, try and put the notes here so I don't keep looking behind me. All right, that actually works. All right, so let's talk about the second line, McTavish. I love the signing of McTavish. I think we really last season the second line center was somewhere where we. I love Braden Shin. I think he was a great player. He still is a great player, but expecting him to play second line minutes day in, day out, and I don't also expect him to be the heavy hitting. I don't know that I'd call him an enforcer, but the guy that would answer the bell for the team. I think it was a little unfair for him. Like, where did he go? Philly or I don't think it was Philly. Maybe the Islanders. I don't actually remember where we ended up shipping him off to, but the fact that now we have a young Mason McTavish, he's a big guy, just like, I don't say Shin's the biggest guy, but he can fill that role. Goodness, I have the hiccups. I'm so sorry. Of course, this happens while I'm recording a video. Anyways, but the fact that now we don't have to try and put Buchnevich in the center, we don't have to force Dvorsky up the second line, and we'll get to Dvorsky here in a minute, but, Mason McTavish, I think he's great. I think the Ducks, kind of an organization that has a real problem holding on to their, what do you want to say, their top draft picks for a while there. They lost Zegras. He didn't want to stay. They lost McTavish. They almost lost Leo Carlson. If I'm Pat Verbeek, I don't know, man. I don't know my job be feeling so secure, but let's not go down that line. So the second line, Buchnevich, McTavish, and Jake Neighbors. Jake Neighbors. Let's talk about him for a second. That guy has been, no matter what line we put him on, day in, day out, giving it all of his all. And I really appreciate that of a player. Kind of reminds me of when we used to have Jaden Schwartz. Yeah, not that Schwartz and Neighbors are the same player, but they would play whatever role they were given, and they would, no matter what line they were on, they would at least try, It wasn't like David Perron, where, like, if you put him on the third or fourth line, he would kind of make the team pay for it. Jake Neighbors, I feel like finally getting potentially a secure second line position is going to be great for him, dude. Everybody's kind of harping on him for last year. Pay attention to how many of those games he played on the third line, shuffling between lines where nobody was the same in regards to line mates. It's hard to build chemistry, dude, when you don't know who you're playing with, game in and game out. I appreciate Jake Neighbors. He's one of the few players last year that would just always go drive the net and then post up. I think he's great. And just to see him in the second line role, I would personally think he's going to thrive there. Plus, let's be honest, Jake Neighbors throws hits like a beast. I am so excited for that. Buchnevich, kind of a letdown last season. Let's also kind of touch on Pavel Buchnevich here. I feel like he got an unfair shake last year. Alright? I'm going to go out on a limb and take some flack for that. Trying to take a guy that's used to playing left wing and then being like, well, in the AHL you played center, dude, so let's slot you in on the center. I feel like that was just stupid. I understand we had to do what we had to do, but obviously he did good towards the end of the season. He kind of balanced out his numbers, if you will. And he didn't look terrible, and he's great on the penalty kill. I mean, you can't deny that. He's a very good defensive player. So having him with McTavish and Neighbors, two players that obviously can take hits, throw hits, drive the play, get in front of the net, not expecting him to do any of that stuff. I feel like he's going to do great. I mean, I really do. Uh, is he going to live up to that extension? Well, I guess next season we're going to find out. And I think that's all I really have to say about the second line. We'll get into some honorable mentions later on here. I got them at the bottom of the list, but we're just talking about projected lines right now. Let's move on to the third line. We got McMichael, Dvorsky, and Berggren. Berggren was one of those guys kind of flew under the radar. Never really noticed this player until he got on our team, and he lit it up early for a little while for us, and kind of made Armstrong look like a genius when he first signed him, but or brought him over, I guess you would say. Signing him is kind of a silly term to say, but I think it's Connor McMichael. Again, a player I'm not super familiar with. Seems like I hope I'm correct with my assumption here, but it seems like he would mesh well. He's not exactly new to the NHL. And Dvorsky just needs a solid line, okay? He did great for the Olympics. He was one of the best players on, I'm going to probably mess this up, Chechnya, I think was the team. And I think he's an underrated player, Dvorsky. I really liked him when we signed him. I think he's really skilled, and who knows? Maybe he could slot into the second line eventually. But putting him on the third line with a reliable line of line mates, I think is going to really help him progress. Let's move on to the fourth line. Pius Suter. Oh, sorry. Oh my goodness. It's Ross Johnson, Pius Suter, and Torpachenko. Torpachenko's giant. He's not really the most refined player, I guess you would say. And again, this is the same problem that Dvorsky had. The fourth line was a carousel of players last year. Torpo, generally, unless he was hurt, with the weird injuries he had last year with that burn situation and everything else, he was probably the only one that stayed on the fourth line. I really didn't like it when we had I didn't like Finley on the fourth line. That dude took way too many penalties. I don't know if it was really his fault, if it's his game versus, the high risk situations that he was put into, but I feel like Suter is a great fit for the fourth line. I love Sundqvist. Sundqvist is a heart and soul player, but he was always hurt. I don't know if you guys heard the rumors, but he couldn't even hear out of one of his ears for more than half the season last year. And to be completely honest, he's just a banged up guy. I mean, anytime you tear your ACL multiple times, that's kind of a problem. Same with Fabry. We brought him in for a little while. Robbie Fabry has been plagued with ACL injuries. It's something that's hard to shake. All right.